Welcome Diecast fans, I'm Tom Spanners-Watson.
And I'm Frank the Guru Gibbs.
Welcome to yet another week of the DSPN Report. We've got a monster one for you tonight, so strap in and let's crack into it.
Yeah, we've got lots of good stuff, and of course we've got quite a few special events this week.
Now, first up in the news, we've got a great little video from Hotwheels Boys in New Zealand showing a garage diorama that you can make very easily, but you can see from these photos it looks really cool. We've got a link in the description to that video. And of course, don't forget the Diecast Racing Report is out. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure you jump over to diecastracing.com and have a look at it.
And then in tips tonight, BlueLine Racing have been doing this really cool series. What they're doing is they're testing if wheels make a difference and which wheels are faster based on exactly the same casting. So what they've done is they've chosen the bone shaker for this one, and they're just running it through over and over and over, different tests, different lanes, different wheels, but essentially it's exactly the same casting. Check that one out.
Alright, heading into drag racing, we kick off tonight with We Race Things. Now they have renamed their channel to WeRaceDiecast, just FYI if you're looking for it. Will be a link in the description, but again, this is one of these lanes to open track that we just absolutely love. I bet you look at that carnage.
And then over at Sub 4 R8, the JLH Crafts truck race has kicked off, and this thing is an absolute monster. There's some beautiful trucks in this, and surprisingly, not everyone makes it all the way down the track. I was amazed by that. Normally with drag racing, everybody gets there.
And Red Pill Racing continued on with Charger Summer. So this is the top builders in the country, absolutely smashing it with this continued series. So they've been at League of Speeds track, they've been at Michael's Diecast Garage, now they're at Red Pill, still running through, and these times are insanely close.
Then Diecast RacerX running some more drag racing over on one of his mini tracks, and you see here he's down to the finals, and these cars are just blitzing down this little track. So close, it's absolutely brilliant.
And our good friend Josh over at Rust Belt Racing continued on with his Friday night food fights. Love seeing food trucks go down a track, just so much fun and a little bit different for your standard drag racing, but still a lot of fun to watch.
That's right, mate. And then Diecast Draggor continues on with his grudge match series, and he's back to his lanes rather than open track. So people who are looking for just straight up drag racing, this is a great track to check out. It's good length, and he's got a nice flag indicator now set up on the finish line, so you can really tell quite easily who's won. It's great.
And then one from Trax by last week, MNM Racing League. So this is another lane to open track race. We really like this one. Again, it's not just about being straight out fast, you have to be able to drive straight as well once you get out of those lanes, and I think that's a really good test for a car in drag racing. You know, out on the street, if you cross the line, that's it, you're done. And I think it's really good to essentially emulate that in the track.
Then another one from Trax by was Milk Monster, and this is just a very simple home built track, but it's a nice drag, and again, same thing, from lanes at the start into a wide track, so some really interesting racing there.
And then of course over at Wallside Racing, this just epic drag track. Absolutely love these double drops here. I mean, you get a bit of air on that first one, and then cars just getting massive air over that second one, and the car on the right there actually going all the way off the wall, so absolutely huge.
Moving now into tournaments, Hot Car Track kicked off his Lamborghini tournament, and this is great. We love seeing Lamborghinis, and he's running 6 cars down his track at once, and it's awesome. I mean, just look at the way those first 3 cars there just tucked around in behind and avoided the wreck that was happening in front of them. It's a beautiful bit of driving. And that was done with Chris from Trax Racing commentating as well.
And of course, Trax's own racing had some epic battles. This little CRX here is proving to be the absolute king of the track, smashing everyone in his way so far, so keep an eye out on that one.
Then Transport Diecast Racing continues on with their Ferrari tournament, and this is a beautiful tournament, and I just love this track. It's really nicely themed, lots of interest, some great curves, some new turns, and of course he did a couple of those quick episodes last week just looking at the new Adventure Force Crash Races track with the high bank corners. Have a look at that one if you haven't seen it.
Cleveland City Diecast Racing had their Ford versus Ferrari tournament. and this was one of the few races that the Fords actually won, and even then it was still a bit sketchy with that Ferrari not far behind, but very exciting action. Go and check that one out.
In Live Young Diecast was running a Fast and Furious pack race, so opened up different 5 packs and then running them against each other. And on this track, again, it's very nicely themed, a couple of little jumps, and even on this short track you can see lots of things happening, and I love the way that skyline just ducks around here. Cars wrecking in front of them and makes it to the finish ahead. It's beautiful.
And the Amigos continued on with their family and friends tournament, and they are now into the actual finals. So they were in the semi-finals last week and now into the finals. Again, a lot of effort's gone into theming this track and some great racing.
Indiana Diecast Racing continues on his IDR Open. He's into round 2. And we know from previous experience on this track, things can get a little bit wild out of that first corner, and then particularly coming into this section here, where they've got this big triangular crossover. There's usually a lot of carnage there, but cars were actually doing quite well this week. I was very impressed.
And then Tábua, this is another short track, going from lanes to open, and even though it's short, it still provides a lot of entertainment. If you haven't seen their channel yet, go and have a look at it.
DC World Racing, or Fraser Ridge, continued on with his Java Cup, and the racing on this track is getting quite exciting. There's a lot of carnage that happens straight out of this first turn, which is the end of the lane section. So you can see their cars just going all over the place, quite often flipping over and then barreling down towards the finish.
And speaking of carnage, NASCarnage continued on at Chaos Canyon this week, and this was one of the races from this heat where car out in front, nice and clean, but if you look in behind here, you'll see 3 cars just flip over. It's just mental. I'm amazed we've even had cars finish a race so far with that many cars flipping and rolling, and that number 9 Cummins car tried everything he could to get back up onto his wheels, but just wasn't able to pull it off.
Street racing with 3D Botmaker kicks off with his King of the Mountain. Now, this is race number 11, and we just wanted to show this particular finish here. This was so incredibly close. It was absolutely brilliant. This was for second and third, and look at that last minute overtake, just slipping past that Mustang. It was absolutely beautiful bit of driving. Then
Mike, a good friend over at RTR, continued on with his Saturday night Grudge Fest, which is the Hot Wheels versus Matchbox casting. This time it was the Mercedes, and he's added a little bit of extra excitement at the finish there with a little jump. And I just love this, where you see the Hot Wheels car coming in hot and getting off track, and I'm pretty sure they nailed a spectator.
And speaking of wild, Max Havoc, Stuntman Sam's brother, was over at Flat Rabbit helping the boys escape some stars. Now, this race hasn't actually been launched yet. This is going to launch for you guys later tonight, so you're definitely going to want to check this out. And check this maneuver by Max in the purple car, blocking the track. That is just a classic Max Havoc move. You expect to see a lot more of that from Max once he hits the canyon.
Good old Max. Look forward to seeing him again. All right, DRC Racing continued on with their yard race, and with their jump eliminator at the end here, it's fantastic. And these 2 cars here were just smashing it this week, absolutely clearing that jump. It was brilliant to watch.
And in Diablo Ridge Raceway, this is another one from a previous Trax buy that we put out. Now, he's started into a Skyline tournament, which is quite exciting. There's lots of good racing going on there, and again, this is a guy with a lot of different tracks all in the one place. Definitely have a look at that.
Now, we mentioned we've got a few special events. This is Big Poppy's Diecast, and he has started the Diecast games, and the first one off the block, excuse the pun, is the push. So the cars run down the track, smack into the block and push it as far as they can, and then that distance is recorded. It's a really interesting series, check it out.
Then 3D Botmaker continued on with the Diecast Rally Championship, another one of our favourites. And check this jump out here, beautiful, but such a brutally fast stop. It was ridiculous. I mean, you see the wheel still spinning and then bam, hits the ground and stops it.
Yeah, that won't be good for the gearbox.
And an absolute shocker there from Stephen King, going right off track before the finish. If he wants to win a 4th title, he's going to have to do a lot better.
Now, Mr. Mom's Racing did something quite different for them this time around. They did this massive demolition derby thing, and it was awesome. absolutely love this. I mean, this is the sort of thing that Max Havoc gets into, and it is brilliant. Have a look at Mr. Mom's Racing.
Then Diecast RacerX continues on with his rally series as well. We mentioned before he's got a lot of different tracks, and this is one of them. I just love this little rally track. It's a single car race only. It's timed top to bottom, and cars are ranked by pace. But there's just so many good twists and turns and little jumps and stuff. It's a fantastic track. He was running, I think he did about 4 or 5 different cars down this week. It's absolutely brilliant to watch. Now, this is at full speed, but he also does a slow motion replay of every race as well, so you can actually see what's going on a little bit better. Alright, now in Frank's Custom Corner, I wanted to highlight Glenn Harding. So we've got a couple of artists this week. Glenn Harding's getting quite well known in the diecast community so far. He's designed quite a few track logos. And then Bruce Rule from Big Kahunas, one of the sponsors at Chaos Canyon. He's done some beautiful artwork. I just love all these oversized tyres, toned out vehicles. Absolutely brilliant. And what we showed there first was he's actually got a colouring book available on Amazon if anyone's interested. Go and check that out.
Moving into Trax this week. First up, we've got Mac Mountain. So this is one that's just launched. There's only a couple of races in there so far, but great little track, nicely themed, and definitely one to keep an eye on. So even in this short track, you see one of the cars flips upside down there. Absolutely love that. Then next up, we've got Checkered Flag Contention. So this is another new track, and they do some really cool stuff on this one. In this particular tournament, this is a cop chase one, so he's got 5 police cars and 1 getaway car, and the drivers get points for however many cops they can beat across the finish line. It's a great little series. You definitely want to have a look at that one.
And then finally in Grassroots tonight, there's DAE Diecast Racing. So this is just a 6-lane drag track, straight up drag racing for all you drag racing fans. And it's a short track, but you can see here he runs slow motion. He's got the 6-lane gate, so you can easily identify who the winner is. And Stunt of the Week. This week it had to go to Stuntman Sam and his motorbike jump over a chopper. This was his biggest one to date. It was so big it didn't even fit in the canyon. And look at that. This man is an absolute professional. Perfect landing, beautifully timed jump. Look at that. Just lands it right in that narrow track, storms off. Absolutely brilliant.
That's enough for tonight. We hope you've enjoyed this extra long episode tonight. Hopefully you've stuck around. Remember, if you've got diecast questions, you've got races coming up, you want to highlight your channel, make sure you get over to redlinederby.com, put all the information in there. It's a great resource for everybody. And don't forget the Diecast Racing Report over at diecastracing.com. Alright, that is definitely enough from us tonight. Thanks very much for watching. I'm Tom Spanners Watson. He's Frank the Guru Gibbs. We'll see you next time.
I hope it doesn't take Max too much longer to get to the canyon, mate. I was talking to Sam the other day about what he's got planned with him and Max. It sounds pretty epic.
Yeah, I know. I hope we can afford it though.